Hello again. We are Chris Lee and Chase Robinson of Southeastern 16 here to preview South Carolina and Illinois in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. That's Orlando, Florida. Tuesday, December 31st, 2 Central. You can see that on ABC. Odds makers favor South Carolina by about 11.5-ish as we do this. Over under 47.5. That makes for an implied final score. South Carolina 30, Illinois 18. Our composite model has got South Carolina favored by around 10. Chase, this is a little bit unlike some of the other bowl games we've covered, and thankfully so, where it feels like both teams are still fairly bought in, and a lot of the key guys are going to show up. Now, there's one big exception, Kennard at South Carolina, we know, and there could be more, but I like the fact that we're getting to see a lot of the guys that got these teams here, which is not always the case.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think it's because of the success that these two teams have had why these guys want to come out and finish the season together. I mean, South Carolina, we thought at the beginning of the season, yeah, they're good, but as the season went on, we saw the progression of these guys, and they were in conversations of could they be a playoff team. That's the kind of season that South Carolina's had, especially at the end, and Illinois has had a good season this year with 9 wins. And so I really like this matchup. And, yeah, the fact that guys there's going to be a couple out on each team because of the portal and things. But these guys seem pretty bought in to their teams, to their coaches. And again, that's what we like to see this time of the year. It makes for fun football and helps us because we kind of know what we can expect from these teams.
Let's talk about the matchup from the perspective of the South Carolina offense against Illinois' defense. Points scored, 31.5 for South Carolina, 22.1 given up for Illinois. On rushing plays, this is where South Carolina, I think, can take advantage of what Illinois has been weak at. South Carolina gets 5.3 yards per rushing play, and Illinois allows the same. Per passing play, South Carolina 6.9 yards. Sacks come off that. Illinois' pass defense have been really good, 5.6 per pass play. Sacks have been an issue for Carolina. The Gamecocks have given up sacks on 11.3% of passing plays. Illinois is generating sacks at a 6.2% rate, which is about average, a little below average. And turnovers, that's been an issue for South Carolina. 2.4% of snaps have resulted in turnovers, 2.3% for Illinois' defense. Now, having said that, South Carolina got better protecting the passer late in the year. LaNorris Sellers, maybe some of that's on his escapability, which between that and that massive frame of his, he's hard to bring down. But feels to me like where Carolina can beat them is in the run game here.
Yeah, I think so. And look, we saw that run game really come on towards the end of the year. Well, it's whether it was LaNorris Sellers running the ball, whether it was a more healthy Rocket Sanders toting it, like those guys ran the ball so much better as we made our way towards the back half of the season. So I really like the way the South Carolina offense is going into this game. I think they're doing some really good things. And LaNorris Sellers is just confident. We've talked about that. He's more confident, ready for whatever the challenges bring. And I think we saw that in that Clemson game, those runs that he did. He seemed so poised. And even in a big rivalry game, he ran the ball so well. And the offensive line was doing their job blocking for him. So Robbie Ashford has entered the transfer portal, so he's out. But other than that, it looks like the South Carolina offense is going to be at pretty full force in this game, which is going to be fun because again they really progressed this season. And
yes,
to me, LaNorris Sellers is the most improved quarterback in the country. Like that's how good he was at the end of the season. I really like their offense, and they're going to be clicking, I feel like, in this game.
Yeah, I don't think the Ashford absence is likely relevant, but keep an eye on that just in case they have to go to another quarterback because Sellers does run a lot. He runs hard. You did see him miss a lot of the LSU game, and oh gosh, we're so late in the season, things escape me, but I feel like he missed some more time in some other games too. So just hope that this doesn't become a talking point, but that is a little thing that I want to point out with Ashford being out. Hopefully it's not relevant, but if it is, whatever the plan is from there, could be one to be watched. All right, we're going to flip sides in the matchup. Before we do that, BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, NHL to UFC. Head to BetOnline today. Don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline. The game starts here. Let's talk Illinois' offense against Carolina's defense. I'll start with Carolina's defensive numbers. Points, 17.8 versus 28.9. Yards per rushing play, 4.2 to 5.2. Passing play, Carolina's defense was really elite against the pass, 5.2 to 6.6. Sack percentage, Carolina sacked quarterbacks 9.6% of the time. Illinois gave them up 7.9% of the time. And turnover rate, 2.8% of snaps. Carolina's defense forced a turnover. Illinois only turned it over 1.6% of the time. That's anything under 2 is a pretty good turnover rate, I think. Yep. So, yeah, but no Kyle Kennard here for South Carolina. Now, look, they don't have any shortage of dudes on that defensive line. They're not all household names, but they got a bunch of guys that can play. That's one thing that stood out to me in person from watching South Carolina this year is how deep they are there. I think this is going to be a fun side of the matchup here.
I think so too. And look, I like what Illinois has been doing offensively this year. I mean, they've got Luke Altmaier, who's thrown 21 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. Their top receiver, Pat Bryant, is one of the guys that is opting out of this game. One of the few guys for both sides. He's had 10 touchdowns this year. And so they do have some other receivers, though, and they've got a good running back in Lafferty. They haven't utilized him as much. But, look, I think even with Kennard out, who's been tremendous this year and so much fun to watch, this Carolina defense has proved a lot of people that they can put pressure. They can make you work offensively, just like most every SEC team. Them on defense was they were tremendous this year, and I think there's a lot to be said of South Carolina and the way they were able to stay in games, and they played some really good teams. Were able to stop them. Were able to force them into bad situations. I really like what I saw from South Carolina. I don't think that stops even when you're missing a guy like Kyle Kennard when you're going against a good Illinois offense. But I see South Carolina being able to do some really good things defensively.
Yeah, there's a pronounced ex-Ole Miss influence on Brett Bielema's team here. Luke Altmaier, their quarterback, was a backup at Ole Miss, had a nice year, 21 touchdowns, 5 picks. Their leading receiver remaining, Zachary Franklin, spent 4 years at UTSA, then a year at Ole Miss. They kind of spread out the targets in the rushing attack. You've got 3 guys that average over 4.5 yards per carry. So it wasn't outside maybe a Bryant, a star-studded unit, but a lot of guys that sort of shared the work. So maybe that helps when you're missing your top receiver. All right, picks and why. Chase, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I got to go South Carolina Gamecocks. The way they ended the season playing football, even with a few guys out, I feel like LaNorris Sellers has this team. He's a great leader. He has them in a great position to win games because of what he can do. He's a very versatile quarterback, and I feel like he's just improved so much that I see South Carolina wins this game and gets a good bowl win. It gives them a little more momentum heading into next season.
No coach in the country, perhaps, has his team playing better in these situations, November bowl games, and Shane Beamer. He does it every year. I have no idea why people count them out. No disrespect to Illinois. I think Carolina wins this one and maybe wins it big. They've just been so good in this spot. I know the Big Ten's got some defenses too, so let's not get it twisted here. But I saw a lot of good defenses this year. I'm not sure I saw a front seven that just caused as much disruption as Carolina's did. Between that and the way Sellers came along late in the year, give me the Gamecocks. We'll be here to recap it afterwards. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Come talk about it with us later. For Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching Southeastern 16 presented by BetOnline.